this is a PowerPoint on the Festival of Legends musicians. Starting, of course, with Death Knight and Cagehead. Cagehead suffers immensely from being a 2-rune card in Death Knight. For Standard, there are no triple unholy rune Death Knight cards in Standard at all. In Wild, why would you ever play this card? It's incredibly slow. It doesn't have an immediate impact on the board for an 8-mana card like it would need to, unlike your Lord Marogar or your Primus, which are big 8-drops that actually, win you the game. Cagehead doesn't really do that. Yes, getting a 9/9 with Charge and Taunt is incredibly powerful, and pushing that Death Rattle around is quite okay, but it's not great, and it's not really worth the investment of having to have a 2 Unholy Rune in your deck, or I guess 3, but like I'm saying, there isn't one in the first place. It's not really worth doing in the slightest in Standard, and then, of course, in Wild, it's just way too slow. It doesn't do anything. Even if you were able to tempo out your Cagehead, Reno still exists. Like, in Wild, Reno, and in Standard, Reno still exists, which completely negates Cagehead. If it gets poofed, you're just completely screwed. Then, for Demon Hunter, you have Halveria Darkraven. This card was incredible when it came out. It would give it would easily give you 20 damage, this card. It was so strong. If you have 5 rush minions on board, and they all attacked, it was so much damage. It's so strong. Like, I don't know how best to describe this card and how powerful it was without just, I don't even know. Think of, Rokara. Rokara was an incredibly powerful card, and Rokara didn't give all your minions +1 attack. It just gave that minion +1/+1 after it attacked. So for Halveria to be doing this for only 1 more mana was unreal, as well as Halveria itself, when you played it, would give a +1 attack to your board because it had rush as long as it survived the attack. It's just so supremely strong. Outcast or Rush Demon Hunter, depending on what you wanted to call it, was incredible at this stage in time. It really only has fallen off because of the Walloper nerf. And I believe if Walloper got reverted, it probably would still be good enough in Wild. It truly was that powerful. It was genuinely a good deck in Wild at the time, which says a lot about how powerful Halveria is to make a deck like that almost single-handedly. Then for Druid, Zoc, Fog Snout. I mean, this card was pretty good early on in Hero Power Druid. Hero Power Druid just didn't really, to my knowledge, didn't continue on that strong throughout Standard. And then Zoc just never would make the cut in any Hero Power Druids in Wild. Even Druid doesn't run this because even Druid doesn't really gain armor. So Zoc would only just give you, a 10-1 with Taunt or something, and that's not very good. You actually are a combo deck, so you'd rather just kill your opponent. And then Questline Druid wouldn't run this because they're just better cards. Zoc is just not that strong of a card. Maybe if it were 4 mana, it would be incredibly powerful, but that would probably be way too strong. Even for Wild standards, it would probably be way too strong. So Zoc just is in this point of Hero Power Druid isn't that great in Standard, so you can't run Zoc. And then, Hero Power Druids are great in Wild, but you can't run it anyway because it doesn't fit. Unfortunate for the card, but I mean, it already was buffed from 7 to 6 mana, so that should tell you how bad the card is to begin with. Oops, sorry. Then for Hunter, you have Mr. Muckle. Muckle, if you see that, was very good in Standard. It's just big body, big bomb. It kills 1 minion. It makes your opponent mill a card. That is actually very significant in Standard, especially being resummoned from your effects, or you can cheat them out from other effects in Hunter at the time. But in Wild, I mean, people argued up and down, left and right, that Mr. Muckler should be played in Beast Hunter only for it to be bad. It's just not a good card in the deck. Playing a 6 mana 10/10, you can make the argument, it's actually 4 mana because of your Harpoon Gun, or at the time it would have been 2 mana because of your Fetch Pet? Call Pet, I think it's called, which is, draw a card, costs 4 less if it's Beast. But that was incredibly inconsistent. It wasn't worth it, even if you did get it. And then, who could be surprised that at worst, a 6 mana 10/10, kill 1 minion, give your opponent 10, anywhere from 5 to 6 damage on average, would be a bad card. No one ever could have guessed that, except for me. I don't get it. I'll never understand why people thought this card could be ran in Beast Hunter. It just wasn't. And guess what? It still isn't. So, get fucked. But yeah, Mr. Muckle, it's cool and all. It's fine in big Beast Hunter style decks. It's actually very efficient if you have like a Vandar style deck, because it's just so big. You're gonna be able, you can cheat it or just play it as a 3-mana 10/10 that also mills an opponent's card, which is useful in a Big Hunter sense because Big Hunter is a slower deck than Beast Hunter, but it's just not that great in Wild, and as far as I know, it's not seeing any play in Standard currently, so that should tell you how this card is going, let's be honest here. Then for Mage, you have DJ Manastorm. DJ Manastorm is a terrible card. It suffers a lot of issues that a lot of big Spell Mage cards suffer, that when there are big spells in the format, there aren't ways to cheat them out. And then when there are ways to cheat them out, there aren't big spells in the format. Like, looking at the newest upcoming expansion, Mage gets an 8-mana spell, and it's not really that great. Tsunami is a fine card, where it summons 3/3/6s that attack, or that freeze, that attack random enemies. That's a fine card, but it's not enough to make something like DJ Manastorm playable, because, like, why would it be? It's not like a Puzzle Box of Yogg-Saron. It's not like a Rune of the Archmage, where it's just so powerful to be able to cheat out early that you would play a card like... Wait a minute. DJ Manastorm costs 10 mana? Oh, what am I saying? That's the whole problem. DJ Manastorm is super expensive. There's nothing to cheat out, and even if you did have anything to cheat out, it's still super expensive. Then for Paladin, you have Kangor Dancing King. This card is actually pretty good in Big Paladin in Standard for a while. It's just, for some reason, in the latest expansion, Wisbang's Workshop, Blizzard decided to print more Big Paladin support, but didn't print any big minions to go alongside it. Again, this is a constant issue with Blizzard and printing these big archetypes, is they print really powerful big minions and then nothing to support them for Standard. Or the other way around. They print really powerful support for these big minions, and then no big minions to cheat out. Kangor Dancing King suffers from this immensely. This is a card that repeatedly will give you value, summoning big minions from your hand and giving them lifesteal. That's incredible for Standard. Like, the value is unreal. But there's just... what do you summon? What can you possibly summon in Standard? Now maybe you can summon, your Beached Whale, right? Wow, that's actually not that bad, I'm going to be honest. If you summon Beach Whale off of Kangor, it's pretty decent, but as the card currently is, the last year it's been in Standard, the time it's been a while, it's just not really able to do all that much. Not the last year in Standard, the last expansion in Standard hasn't really been able to do all that much. Then, for Priest, you have Heartbreaker Hedonist. This card is actually quite good. There are a lot of different, Hedonist OTKs in Priest that have been around, the whole year that it's been here. You can do a lot of different things. You can do it with, like, a Reno Priest, use your hero power to, trigger Hedonist, things like that. You can do, dedicated combo decks, things like that. But it's just pretty good overall. In Wild, it's not very good. And no, before you ask, you can't play an even Druid or even Priest. Yeah, you might be thinking, oh, I can have my 1-mana hero power with my Singalong buddy to heal Hedonist instantly. Then what? Then what do you do to Hedonist? You don't have efficient 2-mana or 0-mana heal spells. Or what, are you going to run Regenerate in Wild just for Hedonist? No, you're not. It doesn't make any sense in the deck. Plus, you have that gigantic hurdle of getting past the 4 damage Hedonist already does to itself, which is your first hero power from your Singalong buddy. So you have to spend an incredible amount of mana. You have to either make Hedonist live on board or make your Singalong buddy and Garrison Commander live on board. It's just not feasible to make Hedonist work. Then for Rogue, you have MC Blingtron. This card is quite unfortunate because it has a lot of important aspects to it that would make it strong. The 1/2 microphone that your opponent takes 1 damage, or an additional damage, is quite good. But that's arguably a 1-mana effect because of Void Touch Attendant. Yeah, you'd probably say it's 2 mana because your opponent has to take 2 turns to destroy it or play a weapon. So yeah, I can see that. But it's also a mech for Mech Rogue. So that's, big. But it just doesn't, it's just so expensive. And you get this microphone yourself that, like, they tie all these effects together to make it so expensive. And then it's still technically understated because it's a 5/5. Like, what? This card could genuinely be like a 3-mana 3/3. Maybe even just remove the you get a microphone part as well if they really are afraid of it. And it would be pretty strong in both, and maybe not in Wild, but in Standard with the mechs from Titans and things like that, it probably could be quite good. I'm going to be honest with you. And it is a little unfortunate that a card like this that is just pretty cool and has a really good signature too. The MC Blingtron is one of the best signatures in the game, in my opinion. Just is so useless. Then for Shaman, you have Inza. Inza saw some play in like Giant Insect decks and in early Nature Shaman lists, but just fell off. It's kind of not that great of a card in Standard. Of course, in Wild, it's completely useless. But the big thing about Inza is it's actually named after a prolific collegiate player that went to college with me, which is very funny. He played on my collegiate team before I did. He was very good. He won, and he got second, in the collegiate. Oh God, what's it called? I can't remember off the top of my head. It's not TESPA anymore. They changed the name. It's like ABC, Activision Blizzard Collegiate, something like that. I'm not going to dox myself, so I'm not going to say the player's name. But if you know anything about Collegiate, you'll be able to figure it out pretty easily from Inza, who it is. It's just very funny. I know this isn't really related to the power level of the card, but this is just a nice little tidbit that is very funny, and it's just a nice little callback to my friend. Then for Warlock, you have Rin, Orchestrator of Doom. I mean, what is there to say? This card is a symmetrical disruption effect that is expensive. Altar of Fire was a good card because it was 1 mana to destroy 3 cards. Yeah, it destroyed your own 3 cards, but that's fine. You also had your like Blood Shard Bristleback and your whatever it's called, the 6 mana 6/6 that would cost 1 if you had 15 or less cards in your deck to benefit from your Altar of Fires, right? But Rin is 5 mana and has a Death Rattle to trigger its effect, so it's incredibly slow. It's just not very good. It's not good in either format. Like, there's not really understanding why they made this card. I still bought the Diamond version because I'm an idiot, but that's just me. I'm not too sure what's up with Rin. I thought they would have supported it by now. That's why I did it, but I guess not. So yeah, this card's just truly terrible. Then for Warrior, you have Rock Master Voon. This card was integral to both formats for a while. It actually used to cost 4, and it was still pretty okay at 4. Then they buffed it to 3, and it was just a lot better in Standard. In Wild, yeah, that's a big buff as well. It didn't really affect the card that much. It was an okay card in Wild. You would put it in your Skipper decks, you put it in your Menagerie decks, put it in your Taunt Warriors, things like that, and it was fine. 3 mana attacks, or 3 mana from 4 definitely helped, but it's not like you were comboing it with your Zola in Wild, so you didn't really care that much compared to Standard, but it is something that you could do. Because Voon will copy Zola, you can keep having infinite Voons, and that is quite nice for value. If you could play a value-style game like that in Hearthstone again, like say this was, like 2019, 2018, 2019? Yeah, 2019. This would have been an incredibly broken card, right, in 2019. But in 2023, it's just pretty decent, That says a lot about the power creep of the game and the slow kind of grindy cards, but yeah. I don't know. Rockmaster Boon is just kind of cool, and I think that it's one of those cards that as long as Warrior keeps getting Mana Cheat on their Menagerie, which they get a lot, mind you, that Voon will only get better as time goes on, and most cards can't be said like that. Most cards can't be said, oh, they will get better as time goes on, because they're hard to quantify their effects. But if Voon is copying multiple 0 mana cards, that's incredibly powerful. And we know that because it does that already. It already copies 0 mana cards, and it's good when it can do that. But yeah, that's going to be it from me. If you enjoyed, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Tell me what you think down below. What's your favorite musician? Which one's your least favorite? I'm going to talk about the songs next, so stay tuned for that. And obviously, Sing Along Buddy is my favorite musician. Come on. But yeah. I have 2 giveaways going on. I have one for everyone. If you just comment your favorite Hearthstone card down below, you can be entered into a giveaway for Perils in Paradise. Pre-order. Gosh, I can't talk. And then if you become a member on my YouTube, you'll be entered for one as well. You can win both. It's incredibly, incredibly unlikely, but you could. Will it happen? Heck no, but it could. And yeah, I'll see you guys next time. Peace.
Rising again, darker than they've ever been.